Member questions? Chair recognizes Mr. Turner from Ohio.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, and thank you for having this hearing on this important issue. Ms. Cross, I just want to point out first off that there's no one on this committee that is opposed to remote work. The members of this committee all work from multiple locations. So we understand that where and when appropriate, remote work is essential. The issue is an absent workforce, and when and where is too much. And I want to thank you for your service to your country. I am particularly interested in your testimony because I'm actually the chairman of the Intelligence Committee, and you cite some specific information about the intelligence community workforce. And I want to thank you for your work. You've worked on quality of life and workforce improvement for the intelligence community, but you cite some statistics that I believe that are a little misleading, and I want to walk you through those. In your opening statement, you claim that the U.S. intelligence community is a top place to work in the federal government. I agree. And you credit it to telework. However, the survey you cite and the graphic in your statement shows that the IC has been ranked in the top 5 agencies since 2012, long before the COVID-19 expansion of telework. Likewise, you highlight the IC as a top 3 agency in engagement and satisfaction, again crediting telework, but the IC held that same top 3 ranking by your own statistics in 2019 before the increase in telework. Finally, the increased engagement scores that you used to advocate for telework in the high 70s in 2020, by the way, in 2020, in the height you actually cite, it's the height of the pandemic, which actually nobody was too happy then, it's in the high 70s. Yet your own statement contradicts itself when you acknowledge that even with a shift back to in-person work engagement, the levels remained in the 70s in 2023. So it seems like your statistics don't necessarily prove your conclusion because it proves a high satisfaction, even though you're citing that there's telework and there's options of flexible work. So I want to give you an opportunity to at least discuss the fact that your statistics show that the intelligence community, even without telework or remote work options, remains a very high satisfactory place to work.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm happy to address that. And those are great points because I didn't mean to convey that telework and remote work were the only factors that drove engagement. But studies show across industry and Gallup research.
Well, I've got limited time, so I just appreciate that you've said that. So, Ms. Cross, the next aspect, though, that concerned me the most is that in intelligence work specifically, the type of work is work that does not lend itself to telework. It does not lend itself to isolation. It requires specialized equipment, specialized access to other individuals. It certainly is specialized locations. So it does concern me that you cite it as, you know, an interest of increasing telework in the intelligence community, because in fact, by its nature, it's going to be the opposite. People are going to have to be in special locations with specialized equipment and with a specialized workforce. Would it not?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that your question is really important to differentiate. Let me explain. Telework is not just work done from home. Telework is an improved, authorized official work site. What that means is that telework, for instance, in the intelligence community could be done in different locations like SCIF satellite organizations. For instance, the Joint Reserve Intelligence Centers that are around the country can be done remotely, but through geographic
I appreciate that you've made that point because it's important for people to understand that you're not comparing people who are at home in the intelligence community. If they're doing remote work, they're not commuting from home. They're not an absent workforce because they're still at the workforce in government installations doing work. Thank you. I want to turn to Tom Davis now. Tom, the whole concept of having urban environments is a concentration of individuals and density of both capital and people. It brings together consumer spending and is a concentration. When we disperse it, we weaken our urban cores and our urban centers. Speak for a moment again about what we're seeing in what we're doing to Washington, D.C. as we're allowing people to take what is our investment of federal government jobs and allow them to take them home.
Vastly underutilized federal buildings where we are paying rent and maintenance costs We've seen a 20% plus office vacancy rate in the city, which has lowered the city's tax base and their ability to do things. And the metro system, where the federal government's heavily invested, is all of a sudden running huge deficits because the number of riders coming in and out each day has decreased markedly just over the last few years.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.